I think the fact that we both didn't know precise plot points is very telling about this film.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Well, here's
there
the
was a
thing. I
lot
think,
of information flowing.
you know what, on that note, I think I'm just gonna start,
All right, very good.
because that, as you literally just told me 1 second ago, the
Yes.
thing with this James Bond film is that we're not clear on what the plot is.
Well,
But
I was asking you questions about specific points because I wasn't clear about a few things, and I said that was very telling about the overall film, that we weren't remembering precise plot points that were important to the story.
the funny thing is I feel like with every Bond film, I've kind of gotten like there with the plot where I'm like, who's from what organization and they're doing what. So
Exactly.
I feel like it's just continuing the tradition. So you know, but with that said, welcome
Yeah.
to You'll Probably Agree, and we are talking about No Time to Die. Matt McDonald from Hollywood, Chicago is on, and if you're looking at my screen right now, he is frozen in time in this sort of like
Giving my
manic state of confusion, which, if you're Facebook friends with him, is pretty close to his usual expression. Um, but
well, it's my usual approach to life.
so, anyways, having said that, let's watch the trailer to No Time
Ooh.
to Die. Oh man.
I wish I saw that version of the movie.
What? Are you kidding? That's exactly the version I saw, and that's the point I was gonna say is that this is one of the few movies that I saw where I was like, oh my god, that was as exciting as the trailer. Like literally, I think my reaction on Facebook was "Woo!" which is something I never yell. I'm around Lakeview. I hear enough of that crap. But like this is like here's the thing. I couldn't follow everything in the plot, of course, but I could follow it enough and I didn't see the two movies before it, I didn't see what there was Skyfall and Spectre, right? The two ones
Right.
directed by Sam Mendes. And this one I saw it, I was like, it took chances, and and I want to, and here's the thing, it could instantly kind of be like that scene in Adaptation where I can't remember the name of it. Brian Cox is, saying "win him in the end" to Nicolas Cage. But this movie did more than just the end. Like this movie brought dimensionality to James Bond. It brought things that I always wanted to see in him that we've been getting a little bit with these Daniel Craig films, like Casino Royale. They kind of broke down his character, showed that he's a dangerous murderer in some ways, and he's not just Mr. Suave, winking at the camera like Pierce Brosnan was or Roger Moore. And he's also not just like a complete misogynistic pig like, Sean Connery's was. So they kind of brought those together, brought them to the 21st century, and I mean, I have to say, this movie really did feel like an epic conclusion. It really felt like they threw everything at it, but I didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't feel too confused. And I felt compelled enough where I'm like, well, it's a James Bond film, and based upon like the last two that I saw, like because I've never really been a James Bond fan, but I was kind of curious because I kind of like Casino Royale, and this one makes me get it. This one makes me get why people are like James Bond fans.
Oh, that's very interesting. It's not that I had the completely opposite reaction to you. My point when seeing the trailer was the movie was such a 2.5 hour bloated version of that trailer. I wish I would have seen that trailer, and then I would have known the movie if they tacked on the ending. But anyway, I, I have a long tradition with Bond. Obviously, I mean I do, and my favorite Bond is Roger Moore, which you summarily dismissed with his wink and nod at the camera. But
But I think
but
if I'm correct, though, there is one other guy who agrees with you about Roger Moore, and that's the guy who originally wrote the books. I'm blanking on his
oh,
name.
Ian Fleming.
Ian Fleming. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
the point is too that Moore. I grew up with Moore, and I think you like the Bond you grew up with. I mean, that's really the bottom line because he's been a character that's been around since 1962, for gosh sakes. And of course, we've seen him evolve from the more misogynistic times and the way they adapted the book into a gadgetry thing to a James Bond universe. Now
Mm.
James Bond is like the Fast and the Furious. He has a universe. He's woke. Everybody's happy. It's just
I didn't exactly take him
that's
as
really. I mean,
woke. He's still like he still goes around and rubs up against girls and blah 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 blah. Like I wouldn't get exactly call him woke.
yeah, but he's 60 years old now.
Yeah, okay. Now here's a problem I have with the movie, and I'm glad you brought that up. Is that uh his girlfriend in it or former lover, like this girl he met who was like I found out because later I watched the movie. His former like therapist from like Spetsnaz, played by Leah Sedol. Anyways, I don't know how to say her last name because I'm an
I
American and
think
I'm
it's
an idiot.
Sado.
Yeah, Sado. She plays Madeline, and I'm like, how old is this girl? Because James Bond's pushing on 60, you said, right? This girl's
Well,
born.
they had at least 20 years gap in age, but that's a
She's my
tradition of the
age.
movies. You have to have James Bond with the, but I'll tell you where he looked really bad is when and I found out later that she's a CIA agent. This Anna de Armas as Paloma. She
Hmm.
comes in a low cut dress and she's
Oh
had
yeah,
3 weeks of training and she teams up with Bond, but it's like almost a grandfather granddaughter situation that
yeah, and
young
immediately
she
she wants to
is.
bang him. But I mean, come on, if someone
Well,
looks that,
that's part of the Bond tradition.
oh yeah, well that's the point. Is that, and also, I mean, look at the guy. He's a good-looking guy. I mean, you saw him
He
in that
is a good
bathing
looking.
suit.
He's a good looking hunk of man. Still even with his shirt off at
Yeah,
57, which I wouldn't have done. I could
he
talk in the
looks better
past about
than
that.
Arnold did in his 60s, like with his shirt off.
Who?
Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like 40 years of steroids staring at you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, that's not natural muscle.
His nipples are permanently inverted.
Well, that's but yeah, I mean, here's the thing though, is that we're not totally in a woke age with Bond because he's still
Are
chasing
you
after
kidding
young
me?
girls. You know,
Well,
I mean, because is he
he
woke
doesn't
because
do
he's sad
anything
about
with
his
them.
girlfriend or
He
something?
doesn't do anything with them. He's
What?
woke.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't bang him immediately. They
Listen, and I've said this 1,000 times. The term woke to me
yeah.
is a good thing because really we do need to wake up in a lot of ways. But of course, it's been coerced into another meaning. That doesn't make any difference to me. When I call it a woke bond, I'm saying that they are taking him into the 21st century, and maybe the character needs to be there, maybe he doesn't. That's the debate. My feeling is he's a fantasy character. He doesn't necessarily need to have you know personality traits that are in tune with the modern era, seeing he was invented in the 1950s. Now, if you want to keep the franchise going, yeah, you gotta evolve it. You gotta make it work. But this whole Fast and Furious type Bond universe is a little weird to me, I have to say, and that's pretty much it. The rest of it, the action, everything like that, good. What the heck was with Rami Malek? Did he think he was in a Shakespeare play? I was
Oh
like,
God. You see, he was so stupid and over the top. I loved it. Like he was kind of
oh man,
he
not me.
creeped me out, man. I'm like, man, Rami Malek has always been kind of creepy to me though, because he just
Oh,
kind of
he
has
is. Well, yeah.
he just like no, I'm sure he seems like a cool guy in real life, but like it's like he just has that look where he's always tired. Like, like he should be the poster child for the IATSE for exhausted crew members. Like he
Yeah. He's very intense too. That's my thing with him. even when he was
Yeah.
playing a light character, a character like Freddie Mercury, not too light, but
See?
even when he was supposed to be kind of free and wild, he still had an intensity about him that is very characteristic of his acting style. But
Yeah.
literally, I thought he thought he was in Shakespeare.
Yeah. And by the way,
The way he pronounces his lines,
yes,
for
I
example.
want you to know that Mr. Bond, I will look, it's a fucking Bond movie, guys. So what? I don't know why all of a sudden it turned into like James Gandolfini. Maybe because
Well, it just was, it was. I mean, and I didn't get him either until I read the explanation for the plot. I didn't get what his motivations were, and maybe I wasn't paying attention. As you said, as I said, I do tend to, my mind tends to drift in these type of movies.
no,
So
I didn't know what his motivation was either. I was like, and it's not
he
a perfect movie. Just because I gave it 4 out of 4 Guinnesses doesn't mean it's perfect. Even if something gets a 4 out of
well, that,
4.
a 4 out of 4 does imply perfection because you are building the four.
There's no such thing as a perfect movie, okay? There, like, you want to look. I would give Star
I
Wars a
think,
4 out of 4, but that movie has some very clear fuck ups.
well, I
Yeah,
mean, perfection is in the eye of the beholder. That's
yeah,
what criticism is. I
yeah,
mean, of course, there's no such thing as a perfect movie because you can nitpick anything if you see it 100 times, for example.
yeah.
But there are movies that go through your filter of experience that achieve a sort of nirvana or perfection for your
Hmm.
soul, and that to me is can be construed as a perfect movie. So,
Well, that's exactly my
uh,
point. Is movies are the manipulation of emotion. You know, there is an old story that Roger Ebert was telling where he was in a room with a well-renowned journalist, and this guy was saying they just came out of JFK, and he just said like, oh, you know, that movie's bullshit. This would never happen in real life, and Roger basically said, well, movies are about feelings, you know, journalism's about emotion. And the thing is, this movie is more, I know that's kind of a weird thing to compare Bond to JFK. Anyways, Bond was behind it. But
that would be a good movie.
yeah. Oh my God. Bond, you're
That's
on your
a
ultimate mission. How did you become James Bond? Do
that
you
that
really
would
want
be
to know?
seriously that's good. Anyway, go ahead.
No. But the thing is that uh, we're thinking about how movies make us feel, and the thing is, this movie made me feel thrilled in the end, and I felt that I think a little bit with Casino Royale, but the Bond I grew up with, as you were saying, the ones we grew up with, of course, the Sean Connery version is disgusting in today's day and age, but
I
we
mean,
grew
again,
up with it, and when I was a kid, I didn't notice this stuff either. And that's the thing. And a lot of people want to cancel people for no good damn reason, but that's a whole other discussion.
yes.
Yeah, because I stand right with you there. But I get what you're talking about. I feel like this one feels like it is meant for the time it's written for because I think as writers we've become better with age. Like movies, I think aren't nearly as good as they were like in the 40s or to today. But the thing is, the writing's gotten more believable and more realistic and more subtle incrementally throughout the years, and that's what they kind of implemented in this Bond. They didn't go too far in one direction. You didn't see James Bond walking around with a fucking pussy hat on him. He just he didn't just bang
Good
anything
Lord,
that
man.
moves.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, they brought him up to the time. The problem is, and I think this is the problem with the superhero movies too.
Yeah,
The investment is tremendous. We're talking $200 million into these things now.
yeah,
I don't think the Broccoli's ever envisioned a budget of 200 million. If they would have been put on their plate in the 60s, what we're going to make 200 more James Bond movies because I'm only spending $1 million on that last one, and I spent too much.
yeah,
So now there's a $200 million investment. So there's a bunch of suits in the room. They go over every page of the script. and they say
Mm.
there's not enough this and there's not enough that, and we need another action sequence, et cetera, et cetera. So it becomes almost not so much a screenplay, but a bottom line report.
Well, that's
And
always been
I
Bond.
see that in Fast and Furious movies. I see that in the Bond movies. I see that in the superhero movies.
No, and I understand that. The thing is, I felt like this one actually had some heart and had something to say. It had something to say. It had something to say about like we need to learn to
That
control our
he
anger, you know, and
that he
it
has a
actually had an
bastard
underlying
child.
theme. What?
Sorry. That he, I understand your reason for the thrills. I understand why people got thrilled with it. I understand why people liked the. It's a generational thing, I think, partially because I understand that movies are different today. I've indulged in them for 10 solid years now, so I totally understand where the business is going. And I totally understand the stakes that are with a $200 million picture. They wouldn't release it for a year or nearly 2 years because of they had to have the exact right moment to make that dollar back. So I get it. I get it. Totally why they have to do a bond like this. It's not exactly conducive to great storytelling, but that's another issue that I have.
Well, I thought it made for a far more fully dimensional James Bond than, the one I grew up with was Pierce Brosnan. It was, the GoldenEye Bond. Now, the thing was, when I was a little kid, like, 8, whatever, I think Goldfinger was the most popular Bond film, and then, oddly enough, GoldenEye became the most popular one. But it wasn't really because of the film, it was because of the video game. It was more popular. But I just remember,
I don't know the relative popularity except for box office totals. I mean, I think Craig owns that. I think he's made about a 1.5 billion on its franchise.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
Could be.
glad that, yeah, has he really? 1.5 billion, you said?
That is correct. I read
Wow.
that the other day.
With a B, yeah. I gotta say, one other thing about this movie is I didn't notice it until I'm looking at the runtime. I had such a good time. I thought it was 2 hour movie. I didn't know it was 2 hours and 43 minutes.
I
Right.
felt every minute of it. Let's start with the Bond theme song by Billie Eilish. All right. I have to say, I don't know her work that well. I know her more as a pop culture phenomenon rather than a musician. I have to say, that was one of the dullest James Bond songs I'd ever heard. I don't know what the hell she was trying to say with that.
I don't know
That Bond
anything
is
about
looking
these
for.
songs. Yeah.
My God, dude, the song is the thing, man. The song is part of the Bond legend.
Oh no, I know
Nobody
exactly about the
ever
intro with the
enumerates it.
song and the naked girls dancing on like bullets
Well,
and
I
stuff
don't
like
think they
that.
had any naked girls in this one.
No, this one they didn't. It was a
No,
statue
there's
of
no more
something.
naked girls jumping on the guns.
Yeah, here's the thing. I was wondering like what are they gonna do that with today? Are they just gonna abandon it or go for it? I kind of wish they went for it because it's like no, you know exactly what it is. It's James Bond, and that's the
Uh,
problem with James Bond is that James Bond has always had a very particular formula, and I like how the
yes.
Craig films have broken from that formula. Even Quantum
Well, they
Solace.
took them from the good pop song formula because that thing's going nowhere, man.
Yeah, I don't
That's
remember
going
a
back
word
in the.
from it. I don't remember even how it sounded, so obviously it
Yeah,
wasn't that good.
rightly. I'm telling you, that's how unmemorable. I couldn't sing one note of
Yeah.
it. you know.
But I don't judge it. Honestly, every time I think I've seen a James Bond film, I've like been tempted to just skip the song. It's like when you watch SNL and then they have the
Gasp.
musical guest come on. I'm like, yeah,
All I
whatever. I
can
just don't
say is
understand it.
gasp. Skip the Bond song. The Bond song is part of the legacy.
Hey, if someone could make a James Bond movie and just cut the fucking song, I'd be
Oh,
happy.
dude.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. This is a James
Dude.
Bond. This is like I feel like is this James Bond if Ryan Johnson directed it? Or nah, it wouldn't be that. Or else, James Bond would like slip on his gun or something like that and like hit the ground with a doink sound. But like no, this is more like a
Uh,
James Bond film not made for like seasoned fans, and I understand that completely. But
I
folks,
wish.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I wish that Christoph Waltz and Rami Malek had had a scene together because they could have tried to outdo
God.
themselves with their grunts and sounds
I
until I walked out of the theater and got popcorn. It would have
I
been
think
great.
I think that they probably didn't put them together on screen because the director's like, oh, that would be too goofy. Oh wait, there are some there, yeah, but I mean, there are some like notable cast members I wanted to point out. I thought Lashana Lynch's Nomi was really great as a female Bond. If they ever,
I thought that worked. It worked. What is the female equivalent of James? Is it Jane? Jane Bond. She'd be Jane Bond.
Jane,
Devon,
yeah,
Jane Bond. That's good.
yeah.
I like it.
But like
Now,
here, I don't know if I'd want to like. Here's the thing, because I was thinking about it. Like, would I really want to have like a totally different James Bond, like if it were a woman or not? Like, I'd be fine with it, great. But at the same
we
time, it's
all
like
know
if
you're
it's
woke, brother.
such a derivation from the character, it's kind of distracting. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. It's gonna be a very difficult decision for them. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's either that
I
or I was
think it's
hoping like Idris
probably
Elba.
time to move Bond away from the white man genre, but still,
Yeah.
traditionally, you have to have understand what the legacy is about. You can make shapeshifter forms of James, make him a Lego. That will compromise it. The next James Bond movie is a Lego movie.
They should do that.
I would love to see
I would
Blofeld
love.
as a Lego.
How
I like
many
to see
like
old school Blofeld as not Christoph Waltz, because Christoph Waltz he wouldn't lend himself to a Lego, but Telly Savalas would definitely lend himself to a Lego.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know if you can tell he's dead now.
Yeah, he is dead, but
Yeah.
he was a great Blofeld.
He was he which one was he Blofeld at? Because I'm not a
Don't ask me. I'll look at you can maybe you can put it as a on the screen. You can bring it up as a title because I don't
oh
remember.
yeah, actually let's
But
see.
there's a lot of great Blofeld. I think there were three Blofelds from 62 to 80, but don't quote me on that either. I'm not a Bonophile. I've never been a Bonophile. I like the movies for what they are, but do I have to go first night? No way.
Ernst Blofeld. Yeah,
Now I
I
see
can't
it.
think of,
Now I see it. Now I see it a week and a half before. So,
yeah. I didn't
oh,
know
you
that
Bonophiles.
they were rebooting characters too. That's true. So this was a full-on reboot, I think they did of Bond rather than sort of
Well,
like
I no, definitely in Casino Royale, this was the new Bond. This was the
yeah.
21st century Bond. Now, what I was very disappointed about as far as Craig is concerned, because I did like that he brought it into a more modern sphere, that he made him a tougher, more cynical version of what we
Yeah.
had seen before. But they kind of swayed away from that. Remember his most famous line, I think Daniel Craig has ever made in the Bond series is when somebody serves him a martini in Casino Royale and they shaken, not stirred, and he goes, "Do I look like I give a fuck or a damn?" He says, and and to me that was it. You're establishing the new Bond. Well, in this film, he goes back to shaken, not stirred. So it's like it goes back to the original car. They were trying to bring the icons of the old Bond back,
Yeah.
retrofitting Craig into that, and then and making him woke. So those are the assignments for this one, and they achieved that. They did. They did.
Those are some very
And
good points, but you
and
know what?
there's
On
not.
that,
It doesn't make it less valuable as a film to me. I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying that
no,
this
I
is a different
understand.
different
It,
different point of view, and I understand why people like it.
it feels like
I
to
do.
you, it sounds like they couldn't stick like a landing. They're like, "Whoa, do you want this Bond to not give a shit about how he has his drinks, or do you
Right.
want to
Well,
make?"
that's the point. It's the point of the executives going over the script. Well, where is shaken, not stirred? Well, in Casino Royale, you say you didn't like it. Doesn't matter. People will forget. Okay, we'll add that in. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
It was like it's a combination of, well, how do we create the legacy, but how do we modernize it first? And that's a wrestling match when you have a $200 million budget that you have to justify if you're some sort of 30-year-old suit in MGM.
yep.
I wonder where MGM's offices are now. That's been sold about 30 times, the MGM thing. So
Really?
and now they're back as an influencer on, whatever distribution or whatever they're doing. But so I want to know where the offices are and how and which office is this? Is it the 20th office? Is it the 25th office? I like to know.
Are you gonna kill someone there?
So anyway,
Are you
anyway,
going on
well,
a
I'm
are
gonna
you
go.
going
I
on
want
an
to.
assassination mission like 007? I want to know
I'm
what
gonna. I
office
want to
they're
go.
in.
I want to go back, Mike, to the fact that we didn't know what the weapon was. Now, do you know what the weapon is?
Oh
Can we
yeah,
talk?
we got to talk
Okay.
about that. Now talk about a
Yes.
movie. Now they delayed this from coming out in theaters for how long
Yes.
was it?
2 years almost.
Yeah, like 2 years. And
Almost 2 years.
yeah, and what's the weapon in the movie? It's a
The weapon is a nanobot,
biological weapon. It's
biological weapon. It has very much like a pandemic feel to
yeah.
it, which is pretty prescient. But I must say, how do you understand that? Did I miss something? Because they kidnap one of the workers on this nanobot technology, and he brings out key algorithms, steals it out of the thing. James hits him on the back. He spits out his thumb drive. James picks it up and runs away, and they know everything. Now,
Okay, we're
that was
trying to
a.
argue logic in a
But
James
anyway, I'm not
Bond
going to argue
movie.
logic. I'm just going to
I mean,
argue.
should
And
we
when
talk about
when you left that movie, did you say to yourself, like I said to myself, I'm not really sure what the weapon was that was taking over the world. I said, okay, I think it has something to do with nanobot technology, but I didn't understand how it was, put from person to person. Now it was a touch apparently, but
right, right.
it just. But then again, so when we were preparing this podcast, I said, do you remember specifically what the technology was in the movie? And you said, no, I didn't. Okay. So we were both in the same boat.
But we
So
never
luckily we,
remember any of the only time I remembered like a bad guy weapon is like it was the GoldenEye laser or it
no,
was invading Fort Knox. Although there was no what was their thing? Like it was like
what was the weapon
sleeping
in True
gas?
Lies?
It was a missile?
Was it a missile?
I think so, wasn't it?
I remember that he was
The
going
point
going
is
up the
nobody
track.
remembers, nobody cares about these weapons. Nobody
Yes,
gives a
we're
shit.
we're providing that example right now that nobody remembers that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you want to talk about a movie that you want to talk about bad oh wait, that's the wrong thing I was going to click on. You want to talk about James Bond. Remember making sense of this? Remember this beautiful special effect here?
Okay.
I don't think we
Yeah,
have to worry about where he put the thumb drive.
very cool.
Yeah, look at
That
that.
is
That
very
looks like a
cool.
video game.
But I love stunts like that as part of the Bond legacy. I
That's
mean,
not even a stunt.
you know,
That's a cartoon. That's
hey,
the worst
do you think
CG.
do you think Craig did his stunts? No.
No. But look at that. Look at that
You
CG.
think
That
you
looks
think
like
Daniel
a
Craig
Pixar movie.
you think Daniel Craig flipped a motorcycle over uh, a landing in Tuscany,
I think
wherever the hell they were?
he kept more muscles than the rest of them.
Oh, he did. He looks good with his shirt off. I've already said that.
I know.
Just
He's
your
great.
lighting. Your lighting's much better now.
Yeah, no.
Um,
Well, that's just all natural light. That's just windows. The
so yeah, same here. So
window
the
from a
nanobots
Malbec.
are going to take over the world apparently through Safin. Is that his name, Safin?
Yeah. But I
They
wonder why they held it off for theaters for this long. Are they going to make the return now? Like they
Who
might.
knows? I get, what they're doing is probably analyzing all the markets and seeing who's letting people in, who's not. Obviously, there's a big amount of states that are saying, pack it in, do it, go
Yeah.
for it. And other states are saying, well, we're only doing three-quarters full. I mean, when we were in that music box one, to me, that was full. That wasn't three
Yeah.
quarters. That
No.
was, that was, that was, I would say 80% easily.
Yeah, we had a lot of people said I had a
Well, I guess
weird
70. I guess the difference between 75% and 80 is not that bad, but you know what I'm saying.
It was literally just kind of like give or take when you were there.
I felt
Like,
like it was a regular preview crowd.
but they
It
also had
wasn't.
the little screening room if you wanted to go
No,
in
I
there,
know.
which I don't know how that makes it better. Either way, like
Either way, they were protecting us. That was nice.
we had no time to die in the theater. There it is.
Yeah.
Um, I knew I had to put in a pun
So,
somewhere.
and I'm just going back to the fact that we both didn't know the weapon, and I still don't know the mystery of the farmers. They had this pool of water. They had these lighted poles out of the water, and these farmers were working on them. And then when the whole thing started to collapse, they ran out of the pool like thieves. But we have no idea what they were doing with these lighted poles. Were they developing the nanobot with it? Were they growing inside those? I don't know.
You gotta watch it again.
I guess I do.
Yeah, what's important is that James Bond stopped COVID, and
Yeah,
then
I got you.
you know he that should I nah never
And then,
mind.
as it would have been great to have an ending where a Chinese double agent had a vial of it and was driving away from the World War II island.
Is it gonna be the little like racist version of a Chinese kid in Indiana
That's not
Jones where he's
racist.
like, "Okie dokie, Dr.
It's
Jones," but it'll be
it's
like,
a
"Okay."
socioeconomic joke. It's not racist.
It'll be like the Chi I know, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, you are.
It'll except saying like "Okie
Yes,
dokie,
you
Dr.
are, sir.
Jones," it'll be "Okie dokie, Mr. Bond."
Uh, So anyway, I'm glad we're in more enlightened times, and we have a more enlightened Bond, and we have a Bond family and a Bond universe. The here's This is so interesting because the old Bond, all the other characters, your Qs, your Ms, your Miss Moneypennies, all those people were kind of there as the aide de camps. Well, now
Yeah.
they're part of a woke family. They're they have they have the concerned look on their face. They will do anything for Bond, and it just is it's kind of disconcerting. It's too personal. It's too personal. It's supposed to be MI6, not a garden party.
All right, so there right there. Right there, but if you know real intelligence, they kind of like do get to know each other on a personal level. But like also like
Just like the Fast and Furious family. I get it.
yeah,
I get it.
except you're not having Ralph Fiennes saying it's family bond. You know, you're
Close. They came this close.
no, they didn't. No, there wasn't anything like that. They just because here's the thing: if Bond
Here
fucks
we have a
up, Ralph
disagreement.
Fiennes is going to jail because he almost let COVID break out. And that would
So
have
if you
been
watch,
really
ladies and
bad.
gentlemen, remember to see where Ralph almost says they're family. Or it's Rafe, by the way. It's not Ralph, it's Rafe
Rafe. Sorry.
Fiennes.
Is really? It's Rafe?
Yes, yes,
Well,
Rafe.
holy shit. I'm a dumbass.
No, you're not. I'm just kind of kidding about that. I don't know if
Because I've
it's
been calling
Rafe.
him Ralph my
I'm just
whole life.
can I make another salient point about
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about before you're walking into this film. What is your feeling about James Bond? The movie wants you to love him. You love James Bond like you love Indiana Jones when you're walking in there. You love him, you love him, you love him. That's where you'll enjoy this movie the most, I think, because there's a lot of redemption for someone you're in love with.
And
That's it.
also, he was. But here's
Yeah.
the thing every James Bond movie makes you love James Bond. He's.
Well, that was
He's
going
the
to be my
ultimate
point.
sex
I don't
figure. He's the ultimate badass. He's everything wrapped into one.
I don't my in my opinion, I don't think that was his intention when he was invented. He was invented to be a spy who solved international crimes.
Yeah.
So to have him now be part of the Fast and Furious family, we might as well put James Bond in the next Fast and Furious. We'll use his corpse, his burnt corpse, as fuel for a new rocket ship that goes into space and shoots Russians on Mars. As far as my love for Bond, I like okay, he's an iconic movie character. Am I in love with him? No. Do I care if he has a kid? No.
Yeah.
So
Do I care if he dies? No,
No, I don't.
I
It was
do
so inevitable that it
because
was like the sun coming up. You know, it's like, oh yeah, wow, and he saves everybody while he's doing it. Oh yeah, wow. It's just like Bruce Willis in Armageddon. He's just there to
yeah.
he's just there to get a school named after him.
No, he saved the world by
He
sacrificing
saved the
himself.
goddamn world.
He saved the fucking world. That's what James Bond is supposed to do. He shoots the terrorists, you know? And he's not exactly a perfect guy. If I'm mad at my girlfriend while someone is shooting bullets at my car and could kill both of us, and I'm just sitting there like, no, just yell at me. I don't care. I'm just gonna sit here.
I
Like,
did that was actually a pretty interesting scene because it didn't require any kind of CGI or anything. It just
or
required
dialogue.
the old fashioned what do they call the fake shots.
Uh,
Um,
I call it
I
show
can't,
don't tell, but
no, it's squibs. It was just
oh
squibs,
yeah, it was
you
just
know,
squibs on the windshield.
creating pressure on the window. And I said, boy, that's really effective.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
like that
the
glass could get in their
technology
eye.
of squibs now is freaking amazing because you got those. Oh, that's another thing I'll bring up. In fact, I'll let you make a point because I've been yakking, but I have another point.
Oh no, just glass could get in their eye when they're shooting that windshield that close. But it's a Bond film, so you know. Also, we don't have cars that blow out smoke with turrets in the front. That's something you can get
Well,
in
that
GTA, but not. So
that came out of one of those suits meetings. They saw the script. Where's the car? Where's the car that belches smoke? Give
yeah.
me the car that belches smoke, or
And
I'm
it
not
works
going
for
to
the
write the check.
character, and it works for the character and the emotion of the scene because it was Bond really wondering if he should just give it all up and just let people like this die because what's the point in all of it,
Of course, what is the point?
you know? And that was it. I'm like, oh, we
Now,
have a suicidal Bond now. This is great, and he goes through all of the ranges of emotion and suicide in like a split second while still keeping his cool.
he's woke. And I said, as I said in the onset, I think the term woke is good because we do need to wake up. But
Yep.
I also believe how it's been coerced into something else, which makes it funny to me. But anyway, so
Well,
the
that's the
other
thing.
point,
Like everything in life, there's balance. There's good and there's bad. You
sure,
know, there's the good end of woke where
yep,
monsters and predators and people's individual lives are being recognized. I mean, especially with IATSE, I think woke culture helped awaken people to the abusive hours that people have had to endure in film that I've had to endure for many years. But but it brings that, but then also it
I hope
brings,
there wasn't anything like that on the Bond set.
well, apparently Quantum of Solace was a shit show according to Daniel Craig.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's the least of the ones he's done too. But anyway,
yeah.
one last point I want to bring up before we wrap up is when did Bond turn into John Wick? There are so many random shootings in this. Now, I'm not, again, the Wick series has gotten better to me, okay, because they're sort of making fun of themselves. Here with Bond, they're taking the Wick parameters, meaning that Bond can shoot over his head and somebody's going to die. And there had to be 100 funerals in this thing. You know, henchmen didn't have a shot in hell in this movie. If you were a henchman, you were dead,
Hmm.
basically. And
It's so
if you didn't die by his lead, you died by the fighter jets coming in and bombing your nanobot station.
so. Are you
Spoiler alert.
arguing about James Bond being a Mary or a Larry Stew? Because he's always been
No,
a
I'm
Larry.
arguing that they're making him too John Wick. The random shootings are not interesting.
Did
That's
he
what I'm
always
arguing.
have like precise aim? Because I always thought he did. Like he was always just
Who?
like
Bond
James Bond.
or
Yeah,
Wick?
James Bond.
He was doing a lot of the over the shoulder stuff and you
Yeah,
know pew 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 pew. Give me the
yeah.
button that says pew 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 pew.
Hey, they did. Oh, but speaking of the CEOs, one shot they
Yes.
did is they got to get the tunnel shot. Get him going around in the tunnel and shooting him.
Well, the tunnel thing too in the beginning was different. Usually it drips blood, you
Yep.
know. I have to see where they change it. I don't think they change it for this one. Because again, they when they rebooted Bond with Craig, they changed a lot of aspects of it. Nuances I probably don't know. But which Casino
Michael
Roy?
taking notes from the Disney playbook of fan service, but I feel like it was fan service, but not fanboy service, if that makes sense. Like it all tied together to the plot, and the directors made the producers' notes work. And I think that's balance.
I'm not denying that for a second. The
Yeah,
200 million was well invested if they get it back.
yeah.
But I think the reviews have been universally positive, which surprises me.
I
But
know, and that's why you're a warrior for coming on and having your point of view, because here's the thing, not everyone's going to have the same opinion about a movie. There's going to be a lot of people
I
who are
think
going to
that's the whole
agree.
nature of criticism. And
Exactly.
I believe also too that there are people who have more experience in life where they can show you something about a film that you don't know. So
Hmm.
not only am I a critic and you're a critic, but everybody who goes sees a film is a critic. They have a filter of experience that they apply to any picture that they see. So
Right. And that's the thing, is who you'll probably agree with. So do you probably agree with me, or do you probably agree with Pat on No Time to Die? Let us know later in the comments section, or if you're listening to it on a podcast, let me know within the comment section as there below. I'm old, okay? I'm learning this stuff. Pop in the comments what you think. Tell and be respectful. Anyways, guys, if you want to check out, do you have I have a written review for it on my website at ypareviews.com. Do you have anything for James Bond on your
I
site?
will post. I will post on Thursday.
Okay, stay tuned
Yeah.
on
So
Thursday for
I take my audio from my radio appearances and post it.
oh sweet. So stay tuned Thursday at Hollywood, Chicago for that.
HollywoodChicago.com. If you want to listen to me on the radio and you're in Monroe, Wisconsin, WBGR and WSSR Star 96.7, Joliet, Illinois. Thanks
All
for
right.
the plugs.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pat. And guys, No Time to Die in the theaters. Now, will you die in the theater or see it at home? If you get your COVID shot, you'll be fine, I think. I know. I know. All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and you'll probably agree.